evening, everybody. John Connolly here. Our producer is Justin, going to be joined in a moment here by our color analyst for today. We'll get to that in just a moment. It is just a few minutes after 7 p.m. here from Bloomington Ice Garden. This is the championship game upcoming for the opener. We're going to see a good one here. Defending state champions from Minnetonka will face Lakeville North. Lakeville North with a thrilling overtime victory yesterday. However, they are down a player as Shane Griffin has been injured. You'll have a chance to see a little bit more from Shane. He's our guest between periods 2 and 3. We also have an interview coming up with Jack Bayless between period 2 and 3. Goaltender for last year's state championship team, Charlie Glockner, will be interviewed by Grant Doctor between periods 1 and 2. And you'll also have a chance to hear from associate head coach of the U.S. Olympic team, Brett Strout. The gold medal winning women's Olympic team. Brett worked with his college roommate Rob Stauber for the 2018 Olympic run-up, starting in summer of 2017. And successfully coached them to the gold medal. You'll get a chance to hear what Brett is up to down in Florida these days. So we've got a fun one coming up. We had a real good game just moments ago. It was 5-3. St. Thomas with a late empty net goal got the win over Cloquet, 5-3. It was St. Thomas over Cloquet. And guess who showed up?
He was a top player for Minnetonka High in the late 80s as the program rose to prominence, drafted by the Quebec Nordiques. He was captain in the early years of St. Cloud State University as they transitioned to a Division I program. He scored 172 collegiate points. He went on to become head coach of Minnetonka High, where he now teaches. He has children in the program. Clay plays with the Portland Winterhawks today, but was a member of the varsity recently. And Reed is on the junior varsity for 2018-19. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me in welcoming Tim the Hammer Hannes.
Well, thanks, John. That was very nice of you to put that together.
Yeah, so it was good stuff. So you got a chuckle out of it yesterday. Brad Atoll had the early game yesterday. And then earlier this afternoon, Jamie Langenbrunner heard it. He was the color analyst for the Cloquet game, and he said, "Oh, I hope my kids can hear that. They don't believe that I actually played." So, yeah, had a little fun with our intros. Thanks for joining me. We had a great time yesterday. You did a great job, and you're back for more here. So, Minnetonka is about to face Lakeville North. Had a chance to talk to both coaches. Let's start with Coach Sean Goldsworthy, and then after that, we'll move on to Coach Trent Eigner, both of whom have recently won a state high school championship. I'm here with Coach Sean Goldsworthy. You've coached high school for 1 year, and it was a pretty good season.
Well, it's tough to repeat and do that over again, and I don't think it's necessarily healthy to try to do it exactly the same, but our end result is probably what we want to do. But we're pretty fortunate on what happened last year, but we're already on to this year. We got new roles, new kids, new vibe in the locker room. That's what's really fun about high school hockey versus college or pro. You just get a higher turnover rate, and it's new kids and with a new opportunity.
So you're not a new coach. You coached St. Olaf for a long, long time, and you've certainly gone through this year to year where kids turn over. This is a team that on paper really seems to have it all. There's an experienced goaltender, great defense. You had some returning scoring, and then some players came in as newcomers. So are there questions about settling into roles, or what are the things that you're wondering about this group as you enter your first weekend of play?
Yeah, if you were going to build a team, you want to build it from the goal line out, and we feel Charlie's one of the better goaltenders in the state. And then on defense, we're very blessed to have Josh Lidke and Grant Doctor. But we're deep back there. We're deep on the blue line. We're gonna move the puck well, and we're gonna get up ice and gap up. And then at forward, we got a lot of new faces, but they're pretty skilled players. We're deep up front. But the challenge right now is, after 4 days of practice, is to figure out how to put all the pieces together, and not knowing all the kids, and some of the kids haven't played together, ever. That's going to take a week or two, maybe even a month, to really get clicking on all cylinders.
Well, I appreciate all your time. Best of luck this weekend, and best of luck in the season ahead.
Thanks, John.
So that was Sean Goldsworthy. Had a chance also to speak to Trent Eigner, just 3 years removed from an undefeated season when they were the state champions at Lakeville North.
Trent Eigner, coach of Lakeville North. It's a big day for the school yesterday. They won the football championship.
Yeah, awesome deal. I'm obviously good friends with their coach, and I guess in my 8 years, I've seen him get somewhere deep into the playoff run every year. So I know how hungry they were to finally cap one off. It was fun to see him do it.
So you won the hockey 3 years ago and now the football, so it's a community that's used to success. Not a bad thing to build on as you go into the season. Had a great game yesterday. It was a regulation tie, and then Schneids takes it with the game winner in overtime. What were your thoughts as a coach walking away from the opener of the season?
Well, I know that we had a lot of kids play their first varsity shift yesterday, and a bunch of juniors that didn't eat up a lot of ice time last year. So to see a bunch of kids get a ton of minutes that are meaningful minutes in terms of situationally in the games and in overtime, it was nice to see them develop a little bit in the course of the game.
Defending state champions today, so it's a tall order, but at least it's playing them in November, and the stakes aren't as high as they maybe would be if you play them in March. What are your thoughts as you face this Skipper team? They looked very good in taking down St. Thomas yesterday.
Well, you know, fortunately, I've been on both sides of this deal. I've been what they are right now, and they're just deep and they're very good. You know, and I don't think our kids have a problem acknowledging that. They're clearly the number one team for a reason. At the high school level, that depth is just critical, and they have the ability to go all three lines, all 60, and hurt you with anybody. So that's the challenge, I think, at this level, is to match them depth-wise. Their high-end guys are good. You know, sometimes you can match a little bit of high-end talent, but their depth is just so strong. So, you know, obviously, in a situation like this, you know, we want to be physical and be very basic early on in the game, and kind of try and get our feet wet in this. But again, it'll be baptism by fire for a bunch of our kids.
Well, good luck today and good luck this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break for the national anthem. Be right back with Tim Hannes' thoughts before today's game. All right, Tim, we're back at it for day 2, championship game here.
Well, it should be a good one here. I think on paper, Minnetonka is going to be the favorite here. And so Lakeville North has to start out on the back end with goaltending from Will Johnson. Has to be outstanding tonight. He has to play a great game. And I think they need to kind of settle in on some defense, play well in their zone, and then be opportunistic on the offense.
So the line opened at 2.5 pucks, moved to 3 when the early money came in on the Skippers, and money line 250, minus 250. No, so I jest. But, you know, what a difference a day makes. You mentioned that on paper, Tonka would be a favorite. We saw a game earlier today where St. Thomas, with a short turnaround in an afternoon game after yesterday's disappointing defeat, they weren't happy when they left the building with how the things went against Minnetonka. They were not pointing to excuses about football players being out, etc. And today they had a great bounce back. Nice win, 5-3 over Cloquet. So we'll see what, you know, on paper they don't play the games. We'll see what happens here. Minnetonka starts out Newhouse centering Bayless and Lagerbach. 1-2-3. That's Glockner, Dr. Litke, the back half. Looking across the other direction, we're going to have an interesting adjustment made by Coach Trent Eigner. Top line wing Shane Griffin went out. He'll be out for several weeks with a shoulder injury, not as bad as expected. Yesterday they wondered if it was a broken collarbone. We have since learned he's out with a separation, grade 3.
Well, that's definitely better results there, but that's going to be a big loss for Lakeville North. He's a very good player and gives them some good offense.
So Glockner in goal again today for Minnetonka. Lakeville North, however, uses both goaltenders. They've put Johnson in, not Mayer, and Johnson's going to be the one facing some heavy pressure here from Minnetonka if things go as expected. Pinching in on the left side is Munson, just a sophomore. Munson was outstanding yesterday on defense for Lakeville. Big save, swatted aside, and Minnetonka completes their line change. In their own end, Lakeville tries to get at least started on their line change. They get some new personnel out. They dump it down to the end wall. Breakout opportunity for Miller. Turns the puck over. Walking it out of the corner is Ennebeck. Ennebeck strong in the corner. Plays it back to the blue line. Still out since the beginning of the game is Munson on the point. He fires this one back to Ennebeck. Ennebeck using that big frame along the wall. Reminiscent of his father, Jake. Jake had a very good career for the University of Minnesota as that rugged winger, Tim.
Jake Ennebeck was a big-time player for the Gophers, and he probably is carrying that same style here at Lakeville North for the Panthers.
Rolling around is Ennebeck. He's down in the corner. He seems to be grasping his shoulder. Hopefully not an injury that's going to keep him out of the rest of this game. We'll see if the trainer can come out and tend to him. Early first period action, 1 minute 37 seconds has elapsed, still scoreless, and we have our first stoppage here with an injury. Certainly not the start Lakeville's looking to get out to, as they're already down a player from yesterday. We're going to take a quick minute here, let you hear from Minnesota Blizzard.
The Minnesota Blizzard offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website.
So, Tim, one of the things, you were a past head coach of Minnetonka. One of the things is you really want to prepare going into a game, but sometimes you show up and things don't go according to plan. Certainly this is something like that for Coach Eigner if one of his players isn't going to be around for the rest of the period or possibly rest of the game. So what do you do on the fly to make adjustments? Nobody slows the game down. It gives you time to collect your thoughts.
Well, one thing you do as a coach, you're always brainstorming options for kids to play with. So as you are selecting your top 3 lines, you might have other options that you like plan B. And so then now you would look at that plan B as an option here versus the plan A that you went with.
An example of that, yesterday Lakeville North started out with a depth chart that would have had fourth line, if you will, of 3 seniors. And when Griffin went out, we saw Lebens a lot at that point. So expect to see players like Lee, Gale, and Walenta now with a little bit more involvement. And if you're just joining us and sure enough, Lee's right in front of me here, number 7 for Lakeville. If you're just joining us today and didn't catch yesterday's game, I think if I understood it correctly, yesterday's color analyst Brad Atall said his mother was a Canadian Olympic player and his father is an NHL official. So Lee out right now. He is joined by number 10. Where's my number 10 here? DuPont. DuPont's out at forward now. He played defense yesterday. So not only going a little bit deeper on the depth chart, Coach Eigner is forced to move a defenseman up to try to get through this game. Lebens is over there on the right side. So tested early over on the gray bench.
And that makes sense here. He's a defenseman who is moving to center. And so especially in the defensive zone, he kind of has an understanding what to do down low in the defensive zone.
I think DuPont had a heck of a game yesterday, so we're going to see how versatile he is. DuPont out there and working hard in his own end. Like you mentioned, almost a extra defender. He's out with Davidson and Munson, and it's making it difficult for Minnetonka to sustain any pressure, but they do have the ability to enjoy quite a bit of zone time here early on. Down in the corner, this is Kittleson trying to find a pass out. He's out with Lacombe and Worms. I thought this line for Minnetonka was outstanding yesterday. Kittleson, Lacombe, and Worms.
They did a really good job. They played together. They worked hard. They're very competitive. One thing I've noticed in Lakeville here early on is they play the right way. They do a lot of little things well, and especially defensively. They're on a guy, and they are responsible for that one-on-one battle, and they seem to be containing Minnetonka.
Litke fires it up ahead to Lagerbach with a clap bomber, and this one steered aside by Johnson. Johnson had the angle on him and was able to make a save fairly easily there, but really impressed with that puck movement up ice. Litke firing a pass to Lagerbach, and they were two of the top players last year on the defending state champs.
Well, when you come in and take that shot for Lagerbach, there's two options there. One is like he did; he went for the home run, so to speak. He went for the goal, and another way is to play it off the pad, pop it off there for a rebound for your player going to the net.
Lakeville manages to clear the zone, get it down to the end wall, but it's Litke working on a breakout. And one of the things that we'll be watching for is he passes this over to Doctor. Doctor now plays it to Lagerbach. You said yesterday, Tim, that it seemed like any time 2 and 3 were on the ice together, it was almost like the ice was tilted. Even though St. Thomas had a very good second period, kind of played him even for a while. When these two are on the ice, it's very hard to penetrate. This is an elite level defensive core for the Skippers.
Well, there's no doubt that those two can play at a very high level, and both Doctor and Litke handle themselves very, very well in this game or in a hockey game. They move pucks up quickly. They've got good vision. They're also get involved in the offense quite a bit on rushes or in the offensive zone.
Mason Hendrickson, Mac Motzko, and Griffin Streeter are out. This line also had a good game yesterday. Both Mac Motzko and Griffin Streeter scored a goal. So a lot of depth, I think, was really the story of the game. People that didn't see it asked me, hey, how did Minnetonka look? How were the defensemen past Doctor and Litke? And I said, Miller and Kroll were very, very good, and Zislav and Kiffin looked good too. So a lot of new names, people maybe not familiar with these players as they were down on JV or coming off the Bantam team. But Minnetonka early on looks to be very, very deep, just like they were last year.
That is true. And that's what I noticed is besides Litke and Doctor, all the players look very similar, hardworking, playing as a team. So you can't really tell them apart too much, which is good to have as a coach when they're all pretty good players.
Connick had Kranz there, but when he went to get the pass off, he couldn't quite make the pass in time, and good play by Minnetonka to get the puck away. We had a drifting defenseman there that got caught in ahead of the play and led to an odd man rush. One of the issues when you have defensemen trying to get up in the play is the times that it doesn't work out are so costly, something that we'll keep an eye on. I know an Achilles heel for the last several years, Kurt Giles Edina's teams, they've had so much skill on defense. They've had players capable of getting up in the play. Ooh, a scrum right in front of the net. They've had players capable of getting up in the play, and it works until it doesn't, and sometimes comes back to bite you. So here goes Litke on a guitar solo. He's got a head of steam, takes this one wide, and fighting to get in front of the net, surveys the situation, and throws this one over, tipped just wide. I think that was Liam Worms down in the slot that he was trying to connect with.
Well, one thing that's happening here is Lakeville North is doing a good job of just keeping Minnetonka to the outside there, just like Josh Litke came into the zone. He just basically stayed on the outside with not much pressure going to the net and creating havoc in front.
So Johnson had a very good year last year in goal for Lakeville North. Both goalies split time. Johnson had the better record, better goals against, and better save percentage. 8-3-1 was the record, 184 and 924 save percentage. I think the fact that they split time, I think both goalies are capable. Maybe the differences statistically were really whose game they were drawing against. I know coming into this tournament, Coach Eigner was very clear, hey, we're going to start Mayer on Friday, Johnson on Saturday. So it's a luxury to have two good goalies. They're comfortable with both. And I know there's another one coming up through the pipeline that played in the JV games earlier that looks very good as well.
Well, one thing, too, is Will played in the Minnetonka-Lakeville North game last year, and I think that ended up in a tie, I believe. So he has some experience against Minnetonka and also has done well against them.
Both of these teams played in the state tournament last year. Both of them are expected to go back as they're the favorites in their respective sections. Bayless takes this one all the way down to the end. Well, plays this one over to Newhouse. Newhouse, just a sophomore, he gets an opportunity to step into the varsity lineup, and they said, you get to play between Jack Bayless and Teddy Lagerbach. Lagerbach had an incredible year last year with 38 points. Bayless has played 2 years of varsity, and he entered this season with 74 high school points. So what an opportunity for Newhouse to step in and get to play with some great players right off the bat. Not everybody gets that.
I think most of the kids in the Minnetonka program would like that opportunity.
No kidding. And one of the players that they're without today is Henry. Nick Henry, unable to play. He's feeling a little bit sick. We think it could even be mononucleosis. So a lot of depth here as we look down, and players like Swift, Wires, and Simpson looked good when called upon yesterday. Lacombe, Kittleson, and Worms, nobody would have pegged them to be a third line. And then their top 6 forwards, which are all the name players on this Skippers team.
What I like about this is sometimes I thought here early on, Tonka hasn't been that great. And,
they get it down to the goal line. Wow.
I think Tonka hasn't been as electric as they were last night, but here bringing out the 4th line, what a great decision to give them a little jump. And it kind of wakes up the other kids to be a little more ready.
I had a chance to speak earlier with Jamie Langenbrunner, whose day job is as a person that evaluates NHL talent. He said one of the downsides from NHL personnel standpoint, looking at high school hockey in Minnesota, is the best kids may not have anyone pushing them, and you get to like the AHL level. He was talking professionally, and everybody knows there's somebody nipping at your heels. And if you're in the NHL in a 3rd or 4th line role, there's a guy down in Des Moines with the Iowa Wild that's nipping at your heels. And I think that holds true for just about every high school. But you look at Minnetonka, maybe not so true. Like a player that's on that top line knows those guys down below me, they can play well, and I've got to continue to earn my stripes.
Well, I think the coach has that luxury at this level, like a Minnetonka or Edina, to kind of, so to speak, sit them down for a little bit, kind of motivate them by taking away ice time. Not that that's the ideal way to do it, but that can be done in programs that have players, or lots of players.
So far, so good for Lakeville North. They've made it through the first half of the game. It's still scoreless 0-0. I think from a coaching standpoint, you'd have to say things are going very well for the guys in gray.
I think if I'm Trent Eigner, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of my players right now. They're competing, and they're playing disciplined, and they're waiting to be opportunistic for maybe Tonka to put a little, kind of press the issue, maybe like from the defense like you were talking about, and get a 2-on-1 or a breakaway and capitalize on that opportunity.
They have had a little bit of transition play here that's been impressive. I didn't record the comments, but I had a little chatter earlier with assistant coach Ennebeck, and we talked about Griffin being out with the injury and talked about today's game. He goes, I can tell you this, the Lakeville kids will play hard. And we've seen that so far. So it's a good start so far. We've got a good game. And a player that's been relatively quiet so far. I don't know if he's out there or not. Spencer Schneider. Where's Spencer Schneider, yesterday's hero? I haven't been calling his name yet. So we'll keep an eye on 14 for Lakeville North, because he was the hero with yesterday's overtime winner to get them into this championship game. Streaking up through the neutral zone is Worms. He leaves the puck for Lacombe. Lacombe dumps it down, and on the attack now is A.J. Kittleson. We've got a little corner there where I can't quite see everything. The puck pops out. It's played by Kittleson, working it over to Worms, and it pops out in front of the goal, but it's an easy breakout opportunity. We're heading the other direction. Here's Lee. Lee gains the red line, dumps this one down, and sends in his line mate. Gale is in pursuit. Puck pops through the hole in the stick, and it's a breakout the other direction. Kittleson enters the zone 1-on-2. Whoa, it's a dipsy dango, and he fights that one through. Oh, he walked the defender, and he almost got it 5-hole. Huge save by Johnson. We're still scoreless.
That was a great play by A.J. Kittleson. Came with speed and kind of stutter stepped on the defenseman, put it between them, and then came in on Will and tried to go 5-hole. Earlier, what was nice, he might have been going against the same defenseman. When A.J. came in on an earlier rush, he cut across in front of the defenseman and took a shot. So now he's showing both both ways to attack the defenseman, one cutting in front and the other one kind of stutter stepping, slowing down, and then going around him.
Mixing it up a little bit. Now the defenseman's not quite sure what to expect, but real nice play. You like to see zone entry with players trying to find some space and make passes, but when you're forced to come up 1-on-2, he'd have to wait forever for some help there. Challenged the defender, got around him, and almost scored a goal.
That was a nice play by AJ. I liked his just his speed, his mentality of taking it to the net.
Kranz goes off with a minor penalty. This is going to be interesting. Minnetonka has a power play right now. They send out Lagerbach. He's in that center spot. He's with Bayless, Motzko, and on the blue line, Lidke and Doctor.
It looks like they got DuPont killing here, who was playing defense, but they got him up front killing.
Yeah.
Along with Spencer Schneider.
Yeah, DuPont looked very good to me yesterday in a role as a D-man, and the Lakeville North is really going to be challenged with their personnel. They have a couple players that will be joining the team. I don't know that either one's made it yet, but they get the penalty going right back the other way. This is Bayless. So talking to Trent Eigner, he said, we do pick up a couple players that were part of the state championship football team. We don't know if they're on our team or not. I think I understood him correctly. So, this is something where you look at what Lakeville North has right now, assuming they get Annebeck back, who's out right now with today's injury, assuming they get Griffin back, who went out with yesterday's injury, and assuming they get Anello back, who rolled his ankle in gym class, they could look quite a bit different. As good as they look today, they could look even better at the end of the year in terms of the team depth.
Right now, they look really solid, making really good decisions, playing great defense. They're positioned well, good discipline. Kids are playing hard.
So you don't want to turn your head. Earlier game today, we had a period like this where there was some 4-on-4 time. 2 goals were scored. So we've got 4-on-4 for the next minute 10. After that, there's going to be a short period where Lakeville North will have the power play for about 22 seconds, assuming there's no whistles. 5:38 remains in a scoreless first period. Things are going pretty well for Lakeville North. Minnetonka's had a couple scoring chances, but unable to crack the code. Passed over to Will Crowley, enters his zone, takes a shot. This one's kicked wide and bounds out over all the way in the direction of Connick, but he can't clear the zone. Connick fights a battle down in the end wall. He's battling with Griffin Streeter. Streeter had a great game yesterday in his first game for the Minnetonka varsity, scored that 4th goal, and I think Youth Hockey Hub even named him the player of the game.
Oh, what a great experience for Griffin Streeter to come back here to Minnetonka and be player of the game. He did. He played hard, had a nice goal, and looks really good out here.
Lakeville's using a lot of the space out there and trying to create a little bit of room. They chip it over in the direction. This is Kittleson, and he's denied. Big save there by Johnson. Kittleson's been very, very active so far. He's another newcomer to the Minnetonka program. He played last year for Holy Family.
Looks like he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And again, his speed looks really good.
There's a short period of a man advantage for Lakeville North. This one's dumped by Kittleson. He's going to go off for the line change. Breakaway opportunity for Bayless coming out of the penalty box. Almost got that one past Johnson, but he raised the glove just in time, and now we're coming the other direction. End-to-end hockey here. Schandorf with the shot. This one steered aside by Glockner. Schandorf down in the corner, trying to work the perimeter. Both teams now full strength. There was a good, smart play there by Kranz. He looked over on this point. He thought about passing to Munson, and then he realized that the penalty door had opened, and had he made that pass to Munson, there was a chance that that was going to be picked off, and we'd have seen a breakaway the other way. Hunter Newhouse on the retreat, back into his own end. He gets around the flat-footed Kranz. Now he gets around another man and enters the zone 1-on-2. Tries the short pass, doesn't quite connect to Lacombe, and Lacombe blows a tire and loses the puck down in the corner. Chance for Lakeville to work on their breakout. That's a goal, beautiful goal scored. It's Newhouse had the puck roll out to him.
I think Newhouse got that in.
Yeah.
He shot it.
Tim, that was a weird one. It looked like when the fallen player blew a tire, it looked like Lakeville was going to have a pretty easy breakout. An active stick tipped the puck away. And Johnny on the spot, Hunter Newhouse slid this one toward the goal. I think the goalie was screened and unprepared for a shot. Nonetheless, Minnetonka takes a 1-0 lead.
Hunter Newhouse getting a goal on the rebound, his first goal of his high school career. He had a nice job there where he carried it back towards his net to open space and beat the first forechecker, and then carried it through the neutral zone and tried to make a pass out in front, and then he came out in front and got a rebound.
Going to listen to Robin Cook, see if there's any assists on this one. So they read this one off 10 from 11. It is Newhouse from Lacombe. Minnetonka leads. There's 3 minutes to go in the first period. They strike first, and they draw first blood, if you will, and now they're on the attack, setting up their forecheck. A little bit of a wide-angle crack there from Motzko. He almost banked it in off the goaltender's back, but nice save from Johnson, and the puck rolls length of the ice. We get an icing call.
Yeah, Pearson did a nice job in front, getting down on his knee and using his hand, which you can do in the defensive zone, and try to throw it to a player, passing it to a player of his to keep control of the puck. It was a nice play by Pearson there.
Advertising with Eden Hall Productions is an inexpensive way to reach thousands. For more information, John at EdenHallCo.com.
Yeah, Tim, when we played, you couldn't make a hand pass anywhere. And then at some point to kind of help the game get a little bit fewer stoppages, I think was the inspiration. You're now allowed to make that hand pass in your own end. Very, very smart play for a player to resort to that. 2 minutes, 22 seconds remaining. 1-0 is your score. Minnetonka's got the puck in the zone, but can't keep it in there for long and work in the other direction with a head of steam. This is Walenta, and Walenta forces the turnover, tries the stuff on Glockner, and you know, Walenta's one of those players. We talked about Lakeville North being forced a little bit deeper on the line chart. Now Walenta lays the body. Walenta's looking to take advantage of this opportunity and get more minutes even when everybody comes back. Walenta wants to play.
Well, maybe he was in the football game the other night because he's throwing his body around really well. Nice hit there, being aggressive. It's good to see those players get an opportunity to come out and make a difference.
You know, our sons are the same age, 16, 17 years old, and at this level, you know, the midget high school ages, junior, for your son being a younger junior player, I mean, nothing inspires the teammates on the bench like a big hit. You know, when it squirts, it's like, oh, did you see me dangle that guy? And, you know, there's always the goal. But at the teenage boy years, geez, nothing motivates your teammates like just dropping a guy.
Well, especially if it's a good, clean check. I think it can be a momentum changer for your team, as well as making a great play. Good pass, maybe a great shot, in a shift that you just outwork them on can be a great momentum changer too.
And Lakeville needs some of that. There was a beautiful 100-foot pass by Lagerbach that hit Bayless on the tape. They got it all the way down and created a scoring chance. Newhouse was there for the rebound but didn't quite connect. 1 minute and 5 seconds to go in this period. Lagerbach circles back behind the goal, thinks the better of it, and makes a little drop pass over to Newhouse. Newhouse plays this one back to the point. Doctor fires this one at the goal, and big rebound, bounces out to the sidewall. Schandorf can't quite find a way out of the zone, and Minnetonka's on the forecheck. Lagerbach, he's got the puck, and he's trying to avoid the defender who's lost a glove. And nice play there by Pearson to keep the play going, made the pass off, stopped and got his glove, really didn't miss a beat. Shot comes from outside the blue line. That was that whistling wrister. Schneider scored on one of those yesterday entering the zone. The wrist shot's kind of a dead item, but Schneider likes to take it, and he's got a big, strong shot. Oh, nice pass there from Litke. Went rink wide, trying to catch, I think, was it Bayless trying to fill that lane? And it almost resulted in a scoring chance.
Yeah, Josh Litke slid that over to Bayless back door.
So we're late in the first period, 16.2 seconds left. When this period's over, we're going to have some good between period content to have an interview with Coach Brett Strout, USA Hockey Associate Head Coach for the Women's Olympic team when they won the gold medal, followed up by Grant Doctor interviewing Charlie Glockner. You won't want to miss it. At the end of the game, Tim's going to stick around for a post-game show. We're going to announce not just the all-tournament team, but the Watching Puck Bright Futures, where we name the top freshmen and sophomores that we saw this weekend. 5-4-3-2-1. That's going to do it for the first period. Minnetonka is on top. The only goal was scored here by Hunter Newhouse with an assist to Brain Lacombe. You're going to enjoy the between period content. We're going to take a 15-minute break, and we will be right back. John Connolly here with Tim Honnes from Bloomington Ice Garden.
Hello there, I'm John Connolly with Eden Hall Academy. I am the headmaster. I'm also the tournament director for the Memorial Day Challenge, which last year was the largest youth hockey event across the entire Sun Belt in the off season. We had about 72 teams and about 1,000 families that came to the Tampa Bay area for a great weekend of vacation and hockey. For years, I've fielded my own Eden Hall Academy teams. Players have gone on to become NHL draft picks like Akil Thomas and several NCAA commitments at schools like Dartmouth, Notre Dame, Northeastern, Michigan State, and others. It's a great opportunity. I'd like to personally invite you to bring your family and be a part of this upcoming season. Got a great coach that's already on board. We'll practice a couple times to get ready in Minnesota and then have a nice, great vacation with. There's more NHL teams in Florida than there are in the state of hockey, believe it or not. And as a result, the youth hockey is very good. And also a wonderful vacation opportunity. Gulf beaches, my favorite small town in all of America, Tarpon Springs. And you can go enjoy that year-round 72-degree cool water and cool off in the nice hot Florida weather at Weeki Wachee Springs or do a glass-bottom boat ride. Lots of several fun things you can do. It's a great weekend, and for more information, send me an email. You want to get in touch to be included in any updates as we go through the planning stages, and check out my website, EdenHallCo.com. Just click on Academy. Email address is john@EdenHallCo.com. Love to have you be a part of 2019.
I'm here with Brett Strout at Punch Bowl Social in St. Louis Park. Brett, thanks for your time today. It's another great season of high school hockey in Minnesota. You're a native Minnesotan, so where are you from?
Well, originally from Brooklyn Park, and then parents moved over to the Maple Grove area, so I spent my years playing at Osseo High School, and then eventually made my way down to Florida.
So you called it Osseo High School. OMG is what they call it now. So you were back at Osseo High School before they had the co-op youth program with Maple Grove.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot out in Maple Grove, downtown Maple Grove, at a McDonald's and an SA gas station and maybe a grocery store. That was about it on Weaver Lake Drive. That was what I remember of Maple Grove at that time.
So a lot's changed in Maple Grove, and a lot's changed in your world as well. I know you played for the Gophers and embarked on a minor pro career, but why don't you tell us what you're up to now? You had a lot of excitement back in February.
Yeah, we just came off winning the gold medal with the women's USA Olympic team there, so I had an opportunity with my college roommate Rob Stauber and Paul Morrow. And we also were able to have a 6-month residency down in my hometown down in Tampa at the Wesley Chapel Florida Hospital Ice Arena.
Well, that's fantastic. Obviously, the women had kind of been snake-bit in the Olympics. Canada's a worthy opponent, and a lot went up. Really, 4 years of work to get to that point, so congratulations. That was a high mark for American hockey.
Thank you very much.
So in between, we mentioned Osseo youth playing for the Gophers, and then recently the Olympic coaching, associate head coach. But in between, why don't you tell us what your career is and what is it that you do year in, year out?
Well, I operate a Tier 3 junior hockey program called the Tampa Bay Juniors down in the Tampa Bay area. But we really specialize in helping kids get on the right path, become faster, both not only with their bodies, speed of their feet, we call it, but also the speed of their mind and how they think the game and their skills. Every time you go to a higher level, the game is faster. And so we really target on those areas specifically with individuals, help them on the right path to help them achieve some of their higher goals that they may have in hockey.
So you're coaching junior hockey. Maybe tell our viewers, who's a candidate to play at this level?
Well, we're up here in Minnesota. This is kind of our recruiting grounds, and we're looking for those players that are right on the cusp of making the North American Hockey League or the USHL, the Tier 1 or Tier 2 levels. Looking for those players that just need to be another year of development and training. That's what's great about junior hockey, John, is I played 1 year in the USHL before going on to the University of Minnesota, and if it wasn't for junior hockey, I never would have had that opportunity. So a lot of players just need an extra year or two to grow and develop and have a chance to play, and then again, hockey is a nationwide sport now. It's not a Minnesota, Massachusetts, Michigan sport like it was when we were growing up. And so players from Florida or Texas can still get those same opportunities, or even kids from Minnesota coming down to Florida.
So, Brett, talking about a player from Minnesota that's going to head and go through a season of hockey based in Tampa, why don't you give us an idea of what that looks like, and maybe number of games and the schedule and how much travel and how much training are they on the ice? This is the state of hockey, and you're the Sunshine State, so it sounds a little foreign maybe going south for hockey, but give us an idea what a year looks like.
Yeah, no, a lot's changed over the last 10, 12 years, and like I said, hockey's nationwide, and the Tampa Bay Juniors with the junior program, it's run like a college team. We travel as a team. We have a couple trips that we fly to up in the Northeast and the Chicago area. Otherwise, we're on a charter bus with our players, practicing every single day. And being in Florida, what I found as a player in the minor leagues is that in the wintertime, it's a clear blue sky, which I found out is a high pressure system, which means you're more apt to being active. And so, to be an athlete, you need to train. And so it just gives you that energy and to be vibrant and want to be active rather than just kind of sitting around all day while it's snowing. So there's a lot of advantages to playing.
And you'll learn a lot about meteorology if you play for Coach Brett Strode. So that's awesome. So what's the goal? A player's going to come down from Minnesota, go through a season or two junior hockey in Tampa with the Tampa Juniors, or maybe go somewhere else with another Tier 3 junior team. What's the goal for those players? What is it they're trying to attain?
And they're trying to get to college hockey, and Division I college hockey would be their ultimate goal. And so obviously players need to get to that Tier 1 or Tier 2 level. So for those players, this Tier 3 level is a step for them to get another year under their belt. To again, we focus on helping them become a player that can play at a higher level, through the areas of speed. And so that's really what it's about for those players. But there are some other players that may be a little bit older, aging out, and they have an opportunity to play Division III college hockey, or there's some great college club teams out there. And so there's a place for every player to continue on playing hockey beyond their junior years.
So you're looking for players that have a interest in getting better and passion for the game.
Correct.
And if I've got the visual right, it could be a gulf that's a little bit too far for someone to jump across. There's a stepping stone that can help them get there. What about player success stories that have taken that step and really gone on to do some pretty impressive things? I know there's a lot of them. What are some examples that you can give us?
Yeah, well, we had a group of kids that were Florida-born kids that were just another good hockey player if they were in Minnesota. And Ryan Ferlin comes to name, who was a kid who went to the junior program, and right from there went on to the USHL and on to Cornell, and then signed with the Boston Bruins. Luke Bronovich, a player that you'll be talking to here as well, from Edina, came down to our program, made the jump to the North American Hockey League, and is going to Providence. So again, those are great success stories. Another player from Finland who came at a young age is now in the Dallas Stars organization. So those are the higher end stories, but there's also stories of players that have gone on to D3 college hockey or even some club programs as well.
But those are some great examples of some kids from your program, and I know you do a great job with the Tampa Juniors, but there's also other programs that do a good job as well. And I think that one that really comes to mind as a poster child for what junior hockey can do just played in the Stanley Cup Finals with the Vegas Golden Knights, another Florida player, Ryan Carpenter. So if we started jotting down names and made a list, we'd run out of paper with how many players have gone on to play at major colleges or even in the NHL out of this level of junior hockey.
No, absolutely. And so, again, for me, I see a lot of kids chase after it. I think the thing is to recognize what your strengths are and your weaknesses are, and find a program, that's going to help you in grow in those areas. Because this day and age, you could find if you're good enough. I think a lot of kids chase after it. I think more if you focus on really what you need to work on and find that program, you're going to have greater results.
Brett, that's fantastic. Thanks for all your time.
Okay, thanks, John.
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America. So it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
All right, we're here live at Maynard's on Lake Minnetonka with our guest star, Charlie Glockner, #1 for Minnetonka. Unbelievable goalie, unbelievable guy. I know you're a little nervous as well as Teddy was. Both guys are not a little shy in front of the camera, so we're gonna get you rolling with the game. 2 lies and 1 truth.
Okay. I've hit in a hole in one. I've been to Hawaii twice, and I was named after Charlie Brown.
So we're gonna go to a break and then we'll be right back and answer these questions. All right. So Charlie, we know you take a lot of vacations and you might have went to Hawaii twice. So what's your favorite spot to vacation?
I'd have to say Florida. Florida's always a fun place to vacation. You know, get on the beach and hit the links with the uncle.
All right. So we know you like music. I've been in the car with you. You love to blast your music. What's your favorite type of music?
Right now it's country. I love country music.
What kind of country?
Just country in general.
Just any country. Do you have a favorite song?
Yeah, Meant to Be by Florida Georgia Line.
I don't know that one. Do you know it? Can you sing it a little bit?
If it's meant to be, it'll be, baby, just let it be.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yes, I know, I'm a talented singer.
All right, so those were the easy questions, Charlie. We are now on to the toughest question and probably the most important. Who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, I have to say Ellie Dulac.
Ooh,
yeah,
that is a good one.
Yes.
Give me some
Yep.
up top. I like that one. So you mentioned a former Minnetonka girl in Ellie Dulac, and so now we're going to talk about Minnetonka girls. What's the best thing about Minnetonka girls?
You know, they're very nice and supportive of our team, and they're just a lot of fun.
Love it. So we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back.
We've been here since 1998. Excelsior has helped Maynard's in a lot of different ways in our growth and just our ability to maintain, you know, a consistent level of business. Our staff kind of sets the tone right when you walk in the door that people are here to have fun. We try to provide just kind of a casual atmosphere for people to hang out, be with family, and just enjoy themselves. A lot of people seek out the lake and the restaurant. A lot of our regular customers love to bring all their out-of-town friends here. You know, friends from out of town, we got to take them to Maynard. Any college kid that comes back, sometimes they always stop here before they even make it back to their house. They know they're going to get a good meal at a good price and good service, and people make memories here. It's been a positive experience for my family and I, and one we look to continue on.
So Charlie, you've made many saves in many buildings, saved many games. What's your favorite rink to play at?
My favorite rink to play at is Braemar.
Why Braemar?
It's a fun atmosphere, and it's against our rivals, the Edina Hornets, and it's just always a blast playing there.
I love it. I love it. So now we're back from break, and we're going to be talking about his 2 lies and 1 truth. I'm going to have to go with his 1 truth is that he's hit a hole in one.
All right, we're back. So that interview with Charlie Glockner and Grant Doctor ran in its entirety during the Upper Midwest High School Elite League games against the USA Hockey National Team. The answer, the 2 lies and a truth, Charlie Glockner was named for Charlie Brown, and to prove it, he can tell you that his sister's name is Lucy. So sorry we didn't have time to finish that one, but the kids did a great job, both from the Minnetonka and Lakeville. You're going to see a couple interviews between the second and third, Shane Griffin and Jack Bayless. interviewed by Grant Doctor and A.J. Anello. So back to the action here. Minnetonka leads 1-0, early second period action. Lagerbach takes this one behind the Lakeville goal, passes it over to Newhouse. Newhouse, nice evasive counter move, spins out and keeps it on a stick for a while. He had a shot there that he passed up and played it down to Bayless, and we're working the other direction. A nice play here to break out, stolen by Santiago. Santiago plays this over to, am I missing someone here? Oh, Connick is out there with him, and bodies flying down along the end wall. And we're going to see if Lakeville North can reverse the tie. They trail 1-0 after the first period. But all in all, Tim, I think it was a pretty good period for Lakeville North considering what they're faced with.
Agree. I think they came out of it in a good position, down only 1-0. And again, they're playing really, really smart hockey. They're doing a lot of little things well. Like on their forecheck, they constantly have a third guy high to minimize odd man rushes for Minnetonka. So I would say Lakeville North is in a good spot right now.
This is a play back to Motzko. Motzko's dad, by the way, is knotted up 0-0 after a period in a game of his own at Mariucci facing Michigan State. Wish they could have saved a few of those goals from yesterday, as the Gophers won 8-2 on the Friday game of the two-game weekend.
Isn't that what hockey is like? You know, it's one night you're on fire and everything goes in, and the next night you can't find the back of the net.
Minnetonka gains the zone. Mason Hendrickson takes this one in, cuts to his forehand, tries to finish it off, and nice save there by the goaltender Johnson. Streeter circles behind the goal and comes off his backhand. Spin move, fires a forehand shot, steered aside again by Johnson. And real good pressure here from Minnetonka. Nice job there to clear the zone, but they lose possession, and Minnetonka completes the forward line change, and they're right back on the forecheck. Out to Shandorf. Shandorf just lofts this. I think what we're seeing is Lakeville's been forced into trying to just get by. They're going to try to clear the zone when they're in their own end. Once they get to neutral, they're going to try to gain the attacking zone, maybe play a grittier style. I don't know that that's plan A, but yesterday they lost Griffin. Today they've lost Ennebeck. They had Anello out with an injury, and they're really being challenged here early on in the season because they don't have a full complement of players.
And I think they've also lost number 22, Smith. I don't think
that's right. I haven't called his name, so I don't know if
that'd be 4 players that are out. In any team, doesn't matter what the depth is. That's a major loss right there. 4 players.
All forwards as well. So, yeah, they're really, really compromised here, and we're going to keep an eye. You and I were talking between periods. I want to keep an eye on Walenta. Walenta is showing the coaches, I want to be a big part of this team this year. He had a ton of energy when he was out there, and going to keep an eye on Walenta. Over the boards comes Connick. He's joined by Schneider and Santiago. Based off the line chart I was given before this tournament, those 3 forwards were on 3 different lines, so it just shows how Coach Eigner is being challenged early in the season to adapt and make things up as they go. Breakout opportunity for Connick, gets it out to the neutral zone, but they've lost possession. D-to-D, this is Litke playing Doctor. Doctor with a pass rink wide, bounces over the stick of Bayless, goes the length of the ice. We get an icing call. So, Tim, I have a final score for you. Holy Family is playing over at Plymouth Ice Center. They got Lagerbach. Holy Family had a 1-0 lead. Yesterday, you and I were talking. I said, you know you're good when your name becomes a verb.
Yeah.
Wayzata scores in the final minute and goes on to win in overtime. So, Holy Family 2-1. They got Lagerbach. Lagerbach has the puck, fires a shot, hits the stick, and goes up into the netting. But I think immortalized with that goal with 3 seconds remaining against Holy Family last year in sectionals, led Minnetonka into overtime. Then they get the game winner, go to the state tournament where they ultimately were state champions. So what a terrible way to end the season last year for Coach Noel Ron. And now here he is, the second game of the year. They also lose in overtime in similar fashion.
Those are exciting games when you're in them and you come back and tie it late in the game and then win it in overtime. Those are, they kind of build the team and give a lot of camaraderie to the team. So I think Wayzata will be able to build off that. At the same time, Holy Family has to regroup, grow from it, learn from it, and become a better team.
I had a game I announced last year. It was the USA Hockey National High School Championships. There's a world of high school hockey that operates under the USA Hockey umbrella. Minnesota sends junior gold teams to compete, but by the time you get to the final, the teams at that level are very, very good. Anyway, long story short, the puck was behind the goal with 10 seconds. And a team from California brings it up ice. They score at the other end with 2 seconds to force overtime. And everybody in the building seemed to know, well, now that we're going to overtime, sure enough, that team's going to hold on to win. It actually was Teemu Solani's son with the game winner in overtime for the USA Hockey National High School Championship. So you and I just went through 3 games where, like you said, that late goal to get into the overtime or a playoff in a golf tournament, momentum is everything. And it's really hard when you give up that late goal to come back and answer the bell in overtime. So tough loss today for Holy Family, but a full season ahead of them. And nonetheless, Wayzata gets their first win of the year. And going on right now, you probably have a championship game over there is Maple Grove against Edina, and 2 more teams that we're expecting to see in the state tournament at the end of the year.
Well, what's interesting is this game, it's early, but it's kind of building to that same scenario here. In some ways, Tonka hasn't come out with the knockout punch yet, and they're letting Lakeville kind of hang around a little bit. And the more that they stay in this game, it just builds confidence. And so maybe they can capitalize on an opportunity here late in the game. I know it's early, but kind of as that conversation is talking about it, that could happen here.
You make a great point. When you're playing but haven't pulled away, then one bad bounce and all of a sudden, the game could be tied, and
well, I think
who knows?
You feel like you're comfortable because you're controlling the puck. You're making more plays than they are. You feel like you're better, and you settle in.
Shandorf teed that one up for Munson. It sure looked like a goal. It did everything but go in. Huge save by Glockner, and that was it. Right there was just that close to tying up the game. And I got a question. How did Munson get up there? He's lined up as a defenseman. He was up leading the rush, and great play by Shandorf to find him. But defenseman very eager to get up in the play, and that's the kind of thing you mentioned it in the first period. I guess I'll paraphrase, but you kind of described something opportunistic. Lakeville North isn't going to get maybe as many chances by wearing down the other team in a game like this, but they might be able to get the goals if they take advantage of the odd man rushes they do get.
Well, and when they play great defense, what happens is you get sometimes better opportunities on the offensive end. And that's what happened there. They played great defense, and also the defenseman, Munson, jumps up in the play and creates a great opportunity for the Panthers.
Minnetonka strong on the forecheck here. They've got the puck in the Lakeville North zone, and on the forecheck it's Lacombe. He's working with Liam Worms. This is a line that looked very, very good yesterday, and we'll look for more of that from them. Dylan Zitzloff out there with Kiffin. Kiffin surveys the situation, chooses the skate option, brings it up to the neutral zone, tips it ahead forward, but they lose possession to Pearson. Pearson plays this to Gasparini. Gasparini gets it up on the wall to Gale. Gale just chips it out to neutral zone, and kind of a little quick hit there from Gale. He had a little time to maybe make a play. Instead, just chipped it out. They lose possession, and Minnetonka's right back on their forecheck. Kittleson. A little bit of a guitar solo. He's trying to find a pass, and the net gets budged off the moorings. So we're going to get a stoppage of play.
Looks like Bayless lost his skate blade.
Oh, it's an equipment issue.
There's that Worms.
Tradition Companies is your one-stop shop for all your home and financing needs. From construction, land development, new home builders, mortgages, banking, and wealth management services, the Tradition family of companies has the solution for you. For more information on everything Tradition Companies has to offer, visit traditionco.com. That's traditionco.com.
So Worms goes off with a busted toque. We'll see if he returns to the game. Minnetonka now also affected by a personnel issue. It's obviously temporary with the skate issue, but we will keep an eye out and see if Worms returns to the game.
But I'd like to see Minnetonka do a little bit more of is spread out the Panthers, especially in the neutral zone. Seems like Minnetonka's trying to go north too fast, and what the defenseman could do is kind of pull it back towards their net to get the forwards almost like into Minnetonka zone and spread their forwards and defensemen out to give them more space as they enter the zone. It seems like we're from the red line to the Panthers goalie, that's where they're playing instead of pulling it back all the way into their zone and using the neutral zone more.
You know, Tim, I'm not a football mind, but the analogy when I watch an NFL game, it seems like if you're on the 30 and you start driving closer and closer, a lot of times those drive they end up in a field goal, whereas if you're taking some passing plays, you might get some yards after the catch. Might have an easier time scoring touchdowns from a little bit further out. Certainly some of those high-powered offenses like the modern-day Chiefs or the Rams 20 years ago played like that. So I know what you mean, and we'll see, does Minnetonka make adjustments to maybe stretch the ice like that? They certainly have the defensive personnel with Doctor and Litke and some others to do that, or do they just keep attack, and compress down in front of that Lakeville goal?
And when, like in football, same thing in hockey, you get less, there's less plays to be made, type of plays that you can make inside the 20-yard line. Well, the same thing in hockey. You have less time to make a play. You have less options to make a play. If you spread them out, you're going to be able to use guys coming late. You're going to be able to go around behind the net and have more space and time to make plays.
So Batman doesn't seem to have his Robin. Yesterday, Schneider got the game winner in overtime against Cloquet after Griffin's injury. But today, Schneider's been very, very quiet. They seem to have had a hard time finding a way to get the puck over to him on the wing. Something I talked about earlier. Christie for St. Thomas was quiet on Friday, had a better game on Saturday. It's easier when you're near the puck more as a center, but when you're off on a wing, you know, at the NHL level, I could watch 59 minutes of Ovechkin not doing much. It's that 1 minute a game where they can spring him that he does something magical. I think Lakeville's got to find ways to get the puck to Schneider. He's been very, very quiet thus far.
Well, and it's hard to take off, so to speak, when the other team has it quite a bit of the time. So like last night, a little bit more, you kind of can do that maybe in transitions when Minnetonka's going down to score and they're pressing to score, then there's a turnover and Lakeville gets it, and then that's where you kind of can take off and go and be opportunistic and take a chance.
We've crossed the game's midpoint. 8:08 remains. 1-0 is your score. Minnetonka on top of Lakeville North. 17-minute period, so that means we're in the second half of the second period. Here's Lagerbach. Lagerbach fights a battle. Very strong on the puck. Lagerbach's got a big, solid frame. He's hard to knock off the puck. A good example of it right there. This one pops out to the neutral zone. Played by Doctor over to Litke. Litke hits Lagerbach. Lagerbach pulls it off the wall. Dipsy dangle around the defender and throws it out in front. Good play there by Hansen to keep him to the outside. Puck rings back to the blue line where it's kept in by Doctor. Doctor fights a battle along the wall. And, you know, if you're building the perfect hockey player, I think you'd have all of the traits of Doctor and Litke, except you'd probably want somebody about 6 inches taller. Both of them are about 5'9", 5'10", and very, very good players. But it's going to be interesting to see over the course of a season, are there teams that are able to kind of grind Doctor and Litke into maybe being a little less effective?
Well, I think the game has changed quite a bit. Back when I was playing, there was a lot more clutching and grabbing, and teams wanted bigger guys. Now these smaller players with really good decision making and good skills coaches and teams are looking for those type of players, and that can kind of make an impact with their mind and their skill.
Penalty has been assessed. This one goes against Lakeville North, number 19, Santiago. That gives Minnetonka a power play. They start out this power play with Miller and Kroll on the blue line. Miller takes a shot. This one's glove saved by Johnson. Johnson makes the save. We get a face-off now over to his left. The forward's out for this power play opportunity. Looks like we have Kittleson. Is it Lacombe and Worms?
It looks like Streeter. Hendrickson and Kittleson.
Okay, so because they had Motz go up with Bayless and Lagerbach on a power play unit, this one is Streeter, who's typically on that line with it's Hendrickson, Streeter, and now they've got Kittleson getting a little time there. So just a bevy of players here for Coach Goldsworthy to choose from. And, you know, they've got some very good players in the junior varsity. The junior varsity coasted in their game at running time earlier. So a lot of good players in this Minnetonka program.
What I see here is no net presence by Minnetonka on the power play. Will Johnson can see it. There's no one screening. They need to get somebody in front.
And they did it right there where you had a good screen set by Mason Hendrickson. The puck got through to Johnson, but he does get a quick cover, and emotions are getting a little bit heated here.
Well, that's where goal scorers live, right there in front of the net. Zach Parisi is great at that, getting to the front of the net. So many things happen when you go to the net, especially screening and tipping and getting rebounds. You're probably going to get hacked, you get slashed a little bit. That happens, that's part of the game. But if you want to score goals, go to the front of the net.
Kittleson goes off. There's 1:06 remaining in that minor penalty against Lakeville North. Santiago comes back in 66 seconds. 2 minutes goes up on the board for Minnetonka. So this means 4-on-4 for the next 1:06, barring any further penalties being called. And we had all sorts of stuff going haywire. There were 2 goals scored during a minute of 4-on-4 play earlier in the first game today. So it'll be interesting to see if Lakeville North can maybe use this opportunity to create a little bit of offense.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity for them. With 4-on-4, lose a guy, it opens up a little more space. See what they can do.
Played over to Davidson. Davidson's shot gets down to the end line, and this puck's grabbed. Kittleson for roughing. It's hard to track the play. That public address from Robin Cook, you can hear his voice real clear, but it's so loud it's hard to track what's going on. I hear a lot of hooting and hollering out there, and eventually the shot comes from the point. Nope, not Davidson, that's Pearson's shot goes into the glove of Glockner, and we get a face-off over to his left.
There's, as a coach, those type of penalties there are frustrating. It's after the whistle. It's kind of a retaliation penalty. You're on the power play, so you want to stay on the power play because you know 5 players is better than 4. Something that we just got to have a little more discipline around the net there.
Bayless enters the zone. Lipsy Dangle goes around the defender, and good play there from Davidson to keep him to the outside. Just a sophomore, has one of the state's most productive returning scorers coming down on him. And nice little move from Bayless, but the defender did a good job keeping him out to the outside. Gathered up by Miller. Miller surveys the situation, plays the short pass to Kroll. Kroll out to the neutral zone. Lagerbach picks this one up. He's got his head up, and a little bit of room and a little bit of time. Takes it down and brings it over to his forehand. Fires a shot, and a big save here. Nicely covered up by Johnson. Still 4 seconds left in the 4-on-4. This is that power play opportunity that Coach Agner and the Lakeville North Panthers have been waiting for.
Well, what I saw here in Minnetonka a little bit is a lot of, it's a little different than last night. Last night the puck was moving really fast, tape to tape. They were playing as a team. What I see a little more tonight is a little individualism going on. A lot of trying to do it themselves, more direct on shots on the goalie versus last night the puck was moving side to side, bottom up to the top, and they had the goalie kind of moving all over the ice with shots and rebounds. Where I see more tonight is Johnson's taking one shot and done.
Lacombe got a shot on goal off of that face-off, and they have another face-off. This one's controlled by Minnetonka. Stick breaks, however, for Doctor, and he's going to have to go get a new one, but he can't quite get over to the bench. Nice pass out here to the neutral zone. Lakeville North begins their power play, and it's kind of a 5-on-3.5 with Doctor not having a stick out there in his own end.
And what you want to do there now is a forward in the defensive zone wants to give him a forward, which Lacombe did. And so the forward plays without the stick versus the defenseman.
We had an interesting sequence in the earlier game, Tim. I've always thought when the stick is lost, you really need to go gather it up as soon as possible, because what happens when the puck comes near you is you really can't make a play. Cancel that, though, because what happened earlier, Gavin Rasmussen made a soccer pass and set up a goal from Jamie Langenbrunner. He actually made the play without a stick, but that's very rare that you would ever see something like that.
I did see that highlight. What a headsy play. by Rasmussen.
And they really needed goals as they entered the third period, trailing 4-1. This one's 1-0. We've got 4. Oh, holding does not get called. It was a body check, and then all of a sudden the player went down. Looked like somebody wasn't going to let go. 4 minutes to go. Both teams now full strength. And now we're getting deep into the second period. I'd say things are going very, very well for Lakeville North. They've done a great job of keeping Minnetonka's goal scorers off the board.
Yeah, as long as this stays close, Lakeville has more confidence, and they feel like they can beat Minnetonka. And I think earlier on in the game, if you get up ahead quickly, then they lose that opportunity momentum.
Good puck movement. Hendrickson entered the zone, hit Streeter. Streeter over to Motzko. Motzko got the shot off and a little bit of pressure here. It's been a very, very good sequence.
The Minnesota Wizards offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website.
So, Tim, we've got 3 minutes, 27 seconds left in the second period. Face-off is won by Minnetonka. This is played by Kiffin. It's nice knowing if you're Coach Goldsworthy, he's very comfortable putting Kiffin and Zitzloff out. They've been very impressive this opening weekend of their high school varsity careers on defense as the third pairing here for Minnetonka.
They do look really good, and they look like they have some confidence. They're kind of spotting them in here and there, matching them up against probably a certain line, third line, and just kind of giving them opportunities that are going to be successful shifts.
So Lakeville North starts in the attacking zone here. Face-off comes. Stepping into the face-off circle, it's DuPont. Mentioned it a few times this game. He's on the depth chart as a defenseman, but he's been pushed up front with some attrition. DuPont took that face-off for Lakeville North, and on retreat, here comes Pearson. Pearson back into his own end. Counter move, leaves this one behind, and unfortunately for them, it's Lagerbach that gets there first, and that pass didn't quite connect. It looked like you had a bunch of guys standing around, and the only one moving was Lagerbach. Entering the zone is Levens. Levens gets a shot. This one steered aside by Glockner. That one came in a little bit bouncy type of thing. That wouldn't it be nice for Lakeville North if they could slide one in and catch a little puck luck here. 2:30 remains in the period. Shot from the point. This is a whistling wrister just wide from Pearson, and now they're on the attack, setting up their forecheck, working down along the wall. Nice play here from Newhouse to break it out to Lagerbach. Lagerbach chips it over in the direction of Bayless. Here he comes across the red line, waiting for his line mates, enters the blue, chips this one over far side. Nice play here. He found Miller. Miller's shot goes wide, and it's a breakout opportunity for Gale. Gale chips it out to neutral. This is Santiago. Gets it down to the end line, and second period's hard to make that change, but Lakeville North completes their line change.
I did like that play by Bayless. He drove wide and then kind of held up and waited for players to come and catch up, and then he hit a late Miller coming in which again moved the goalie from the strong side to the weak side.
Oh, nice play here from, holy cow, Doctor didn't miss by much. And then it's Lagerbach that bangs this one. Was it Lagerbach or is that Newhouse? Newhouse with his second goal of the game makes this one 2-0 Minnetonka. 1 minute 38 seconds left. They've finally gotten their second goal to start pulling ahead a little bit. We think this one is also Hunter Newhouse with his second goal of the game for Minnetonka. They now lead 2-0.
I think Tonka got away with a hooking call there, just a little bit. Newhouse hooked him down and created the offensive opportunity there, which he was quickly reacted to it. Sometimes when you hook a guy down, you kind of hold your hands to the side like you didn't do anything. He hooked him down, turned around, got the puck, and one-timed it in the back of the net, like nothing happened.
We'll listen to the public address announcer. We've got Captain Spencer Schneider talking to the linesman about this. We'll listen to our public address announcer, Robin Cook, see if there's any assists accredited to it. There was Doctor with a scoring chance down low, didn't quite sneak this one past. Just moments later, puck bounced out. Newhouse takes advantage, makes this one 2-0. Minnetonka now on top.
And Eigner's very upset about that, and I think he should be. It was a missed call. It definitely was hooked down. But now how can we respond to this situation? Something negative happened. How do we respond? At the same time, let's see if Minnetonka can respond too and keep pushing, put their kind of the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and extend this lead.
They've got that one as Newhouse from Litke. Newhouse from Litke makes this one 2-1. So, Tim, let's get back to something we did a little yesterday. I like to talk about the communities where these schools are from. These are people that graduated from the schools. So, Minnetonka yesterday, I mentioned Eric Bischoff. Eric Weirson was an assistant to Mayor Bloomberg. Ryan McCartan played Diggy on a TV show called Liv and Maddie. I'm going to come back to somebody else, and I'm not even sure he necessarily graduated from Minnetonka, but I got a funny story about that. And then over at Lakeville North, Bradley Ellingbo is a prominent composer. Bradley Ellingbo is a composer that went to Lakeville. And Wiz Bachman, I try to stay away from athletes, but I couldn't find many non-athletes. Wiz Bachman, a member of the U.S. Olympic volleyball team, married to Hugh McCutcheon, now the coach of the Gophers, and also those purple boxes in the Twin Cities, kind of the floral Twin City equivalent of the Tiffany Blue Box. Bachman's Flower Shops is the family business, and also her name was a little bit in the news at the China Olympics, tragically losing her father in a crazy, crazy accident there. But I got a funny story for you. So you and I played against each other in squirts. We moved to Pee-wees, and I'm a little bit older than you, a birth year ahead, but you were a good player. You made the travel team in Minnetonka as a first-year squirt. First-year Pee-wee, you made the travel team, and there was a kid that dropped off. This kid dropped off, and we heard the rumors over in Edina, like, oh yeah, that kid, he told the coaches he could play, but he wasn't going to be able to make all the practices. He was going to spend some time. We're like, why would you do that? What would, nothing's a bigger deal than playing hockey when you're a kid in Minnesota, and this kid had another interest. And I thought at the time, my 12-year-old wisdom, that he was making a mistake. But you know who that player was?
Yes, it was a good friend of mine. So every time that we'd move up a level, him and I were in the same age, so we both would make it as first years. And I think everybody thought he was crazy too.
Oh, it wasn't just me. Okay.
Yes, right.
Make me feel better.
Everybody in Minnetonka said, how can you miss practices? How can you miss tournaments? But he was off doing something better down in the state of Florida and probably all over the country, and being an excellent tennis player, and that was David Wheaton.
So 35 plus years later, I guess I now don't feel so stupid, but yeah, I couldn't imagine this kid was going to not play Minnetonka hockey because he had to go to tennis practice. And then he got the last laugh. I think I was college age. He never won a major. He never won Wimbledon, never won the US Open. He won something where the prize was twice that. He won $2 million. They had like a season-ending cash grab. All the best players on the ATP Tour. David Wheaton, and did he graduate from Minnetonka? Probably not, right?
I don't know if he ever graduated from Minnetonka High School.
He went to Stanford.
He went to Stanford.
Yeah.
I'm sure he graduated from somewhere else, but he grew up, his brothers graduated from Minnetonka High School, so it's definitely a family in the community of Minnetonka.
Yeah, so anyway, that's it for the alums of these schools. We'll get back to the third period in just a little bit. I want to invite you all to stick around between periods. We've got a great set of interviews. Shane Griffin, unfortunately, got hurt yesterday, but we had a recorded interview with him. He was interviewed by AJ Anello. AJ is another player from Lakeville North, not in this game. He rolled his ankle in gym class. And then you're going to hear from Jack Bayless, who was interviewed by Grant Doctor, a couple players from Minnetonka. So we'll be back in about 12, 13 minutes. John Connolly here. Our producer is Justin, doing a great job. And color commentary with me is Tim Hannes. We'll be right back. Minnetonka leads 2-0.
Hi, I'm AJ Anello, here with senior captain Shane Griffin at Lakeville North Arena. We're going to play a little game here. I need 2 lies and a truth from you.
All right, number 1, it would be I met at an airport and I helped him with some lyrics and songs coming in January. I won the pickleball championship for my age group, like out of the whole world. And then I would say my third one would be I stepped on a nail when I was like 10 and I almost died from it. I had to get a tetanus shot, but it was a close call.
We'll come back to that. Favorite place to vacation or any place in mind?
I'd say Italy. I heard they got great pizza and some girls.
You like the food down there?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can use it, but
yeah, I like pizza.
Yeah. How about music-wise? What's your favorite music to listen to before games or?
I'm gonna have to rock. My boys from Australia, AC/DC. starstruck, that gets me going a little bit.
You like the head banging,
Gets
like
me going.
finger, that stuff? Yeah. Celebrity crush, how about that?
Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood? I don't know if
Nice to look at.
Mike Fisher might not be
sing.
too happy about that.
We'll see who's stronger. Mike Fisher, watch out, huh?
You like how she looks on Sunday Night Football singing that?
His favorite part.
Oh, yeah. How about the best thing about Lakeville North girls?
I'd say they're all pretty smart, athletic.
Could they say the same about
they
you?
They smell pretty fruity too.
Would they say the same about you?
Probably not. Definitely not the smarts.
Yeah? All right, we'll take a little break and come right back.
The Minnesota Blizzard offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website.
AJ Anello back with Shane Griffin at Lakeville North Arena. So you told me 2 lies and a truth. You told me Juice WRLD at the airport helped you, or you helped him with some lyrics.
Yeah.
You stepped on a nail when you were a kid and it went through your foot. And you won a world national championship in pickleball. I think your truth's gotta be stepping on that nail.
Yeah, I almost died.
What happened?
You know, we were playing some night games. I was about 12 probably. And tornado cell, I jumped down, nail went through my foot, rushed to the hospital. Doctor said it was a close call.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's tough. Glad you're still walking.
Yeah, me too.
That's it on this segment. Thank you for watching.
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America. So it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
All right, I'm Grant Doctor, and we're here with Jack Bayless of the Minnetonka Skippers today. We're going to play a few games for the halftime and in between periods. So first we're going to play 2 lies and a truth.
All right, let's do it. So, let's see. I've broken my left wrist 3 times. I've never been in a car accident. And I've had a total of 14 teeth pulled out at the dentist. Wow. So we'll get back to that later.
We'll come back to that after the break.
We've been here since 1998. Excelsior has helped Maynard's in a lot of different ways in our growth and just our ability to maintain, you know, a consistent level of business. Our staff kind of sets the tone right when you walk in the door that people are here to have fun. We try to provide just kind of a casual atmosphere for people to hang out, be with friends, be with family, and just enjoy themselves. A lot of people seek out the lake and the restaurants. A lot of our regular customers love to bring all their out-of-town friends here. You know, friends from out of town, we got to take them to Maynard. Any college kid that comes back, this is sometimes they always before they even make it back to their house. They know they're going to get a good meal at a good price and good service, and people make memories here. It's been a positive experience for my family and I, and one we look to continue on.
So now we're back, I guess. Now we're going to go over Bayless's favorite spot. Where's your favorite spot to vacation?
No, I haven't really been on a lot lot of occasions in my life, but I remember one, we went to Banff in Canada for a hockey tournament, and it was like the craziest thing. Like the sun went down, it was like 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. It was just daytime the whole time, and we went camping a little bit in the mountains, and it was just like no other place I've ever seen before.
Truly amazing, truly amazing. So the next question we have for you, Jack, is your favorite type of music.
I'm a big fan of the popular stuff now, like rap and country, but I'm also a big fan of old school rock and roll. I like 90s, like I like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and all those guys. So.
I can see it. I can see it. I can see you jamming out.
Keeps me awake at school also too.
I feel you. I feel you. So now we're on to the probably the most important question. Who is your celebrity crush?
My celebrity crush. I'm a big UFC fan, so I'm gonna go with Paige Van Sant. She's a UFC fighter. She's the whole package. She can fight, she's athletic, and she's attractive. So can't go wrong with that.
Would you ever be worried that she's gonna beat you up?
Well, I don't think I have any real chance with her, so I don't think I have to worry about that. But
so she's your protection blanket, is what you're saying here.
She would be my bodyguard.
She's your bodyguard. I love it. And so the last question we have for you is, I know you're familiar with Minnetonka girls. What's the best thing about Minnetonka girls, Jack?
Oh wow. I think the best thing about Tonka girls is that they're athletic. You know, they're pretty much decent in all sports. You know, I think my freshman year the girls basketball team won state, and they represent us well in swimming, and the soccer team's good. And, they represent the school well in athletics, for sure.
I love it. I love it. So we're back from break. We're here with Jack Bayless, number 29 Minnetonka Skippers at beautiful Maynard's on the lake. We're back to this two lies and a truth question. So now it's time to guess. Can you restate what you said on your 2 lies and a truth?
So I said that I broke my wrist 3 times. I've never been in a car accident. And I had a total of 14 teeth pulled out at the dentist in my life.
As long as I know you've never been in a car accident, I've known you've broken your wrist a few times. I've seen it in a cast. And 14 teeth, well, it seems like a lot. It seems kind of like an outrageous fact. And I'm going to go with that one's the truth one just because it's kind of crazy.
That one is the truth. I've had 14 teeth.
Dang. I think that's good, I guess. And we're back for the exciting third period. We had that late goal giving Minnetonka a 2-0 lead. Really changed things because consensus opinion as we walked the lobby was that a penalty call was missed that would have put Lakeville North on the power play, and instead it's 2-0 here. So we got a good game for you.
Gophers are tied 2-2 with Michigan State. They had a 2-0 lead on 2 goals by Tyler Sheehy on the power play, but coming back, Michigan State scored 2. They now are squared up going into the third period. What else do we have? The last score that I've heard from Plymouth was that Edina was ahead 2-1 over Maple Grove at this point. That's the last score that I heard. And yeah, our game earlier, in case you didn't get a chance to see it, Cloquet Esco Carleton falling 5-3 to St. Thomas. A great bounce back for St. Thomas. St. Thomas was outclassed yesterday against Minnetonka. Now there's a lot of excuses. Nobody was pointing to them, but you know they are waiting for some players back from the football prep bowl where they're playing right now. I haven't heard a score from that either. But yeah, they really had a good game today. They at one point were ahead 4-1 to Landon Langenbrunner goals, made that one 4-3, and then a late empty netter made it a 5-3 final. Really good bounce back for St. Thomas Academy. And I think one of the things I feel strongly about is all 4 of these teams here have some positives to take away from the weekend. Minnetonka's got to be very comfortable with how they've started the season. They look to be awfully deep this year. Then you get to Lakeville North, who we're watching right now. Had that thrilling overtime winner yesterday, and right now they are down 5 players. Anello and Griffin got hurt yesterday. Smith got hurt yesterday. Annebeck, we think, could be a broken wrist. And yeah, a lot of players are down here for Lakeville North. Cloquet had the regulation tie on Friday against Lakeville North, and St. Thomas has got to feel real good about that bounce back victory today. So John Connolly here, joined by my color analyst. It's Tim Hannes. Tim has done a great job. Tim is a former high school coach of these Minnetonka Skippers. Played his high school hockey there, and then I think it was 172 or 174 or maybe 176 points during an illustrious career for St. Cloud, as they were kind of a newer Division I team. I'll have to ask him. I'm not sure if he was there the first year they were Division I or got up there for the second year, but as that was a new Division I program back in the Herb Brooks days, it was Tim Hannes playing up there, and he's done a great job on color commentary thus far. Penalty overhangs the period. This gives Lakeville North a power play opportunity. So Kroll goes off, 1 minute, 21 seconds, 81 seconds remaining in this minor penalty to Kroll, and just what the doctor ordered. I think if you're looking at it from the Lakeville side, you're looking for anything to get on the board here, and we'll see what they're able to do to maybe get a power play set up, see if they can score a goal here, make this one exciting third period. Next goal is a big one. Got to think a 3-goal margin for Minnetonka would be maybe a little bit more than they could overcome. Stepping into the face-off circle, this is Santiago for Lakeville North. They chip this one up ahead to Schneider. Schneider dumps it in. They try to get some zone time and set up the forecheck. Puck rings the boards and takes a funny bounce out all the way down. This one's played by Johnson. Johnson's been very good in goal thus far. Leaves the puck over here for Pearson. Pearson's pass doesn't quite connect, and nice forecheck here from Newhouse. Newhouse has 2 goals already. He's strong on the forecheck there, has the puck on his stick and on the penalty kill. 50 seconds remaining. This one's going to go for icing. So Tim, you had a chance to walk the lobby a little bit. What was the vibe?
Well, I think Minnetonka parents or just fans in general are feeling excited about the team and the future for this season. I think they like what they're seeing so far, and they've produced here in these 2 games.
I think big shot here from the point from Doctor, and steered aside nicely by goaltender Johnson. A good short-handed face-off win there from Minnetonka, but now they've lost the puck and lost the zone, but we get somebody that's whistled down offside. Still 33 seconds remaining in the Lakeville North power play.
What was nice there about Doctor's shot, it was nice and low, so then it was came off the pad for a rebound, and Mason Hendrickson was going to the net there for a screen and tipped rebound play.
Santiago with the faceoff. This time it's won by Minnetonka. Streaking in his Worms, but he's ridden off nicely. Good play there by Pearson. I think credit the Lakeville North defenders, you know, from the goal out. They have kept the score down. Consensus opinion seemed to be that there was a missed penalty or this game would be 1-0. Minnetonka took advantage of the missed call and managed to score right after that. So if you wonder, hey, why is Lakeville only down 1-0 despite missing so many forwards, credit the defenders. They've done a great job of keeping Minnetonka at bay, and the shots that do get through to Johnson, he's had a chance to see.
Well, and they got some young defensemen here with Pearson being a junior, Munson a sophomore, Gasparini a sophomore, Davidson a sophomore. Those are young players, you know, jumping in, like you're saying, without their top forwards, putting a little more pressure and just kind of more of ownership onto the defensemen there. So great response by these young defensemen for the Panthers.
DuPont steps into the face-off circle. He's asked to play forward, originally planning to be a defenseman this year, but with all the attrition, he's now a forward of the first weekend of the season. Minnetonka on the forecheck. They work down along the end wall. I think that's Mason Hendrickson, plays it over in the direction of Streeter. Streeter back to the point. He plays curl. Curl shot goes just wide, and first one to arrive on the scene is Hendrickson. Chips this one over to Motzko. Motzko, a newcomer to the Skipper program, out there with Streeter, a returner from Minnetonka youth days, but new to the varsity. They've been a nice set of wings with Hendrickson, who's a nice hockey player, but very, frankly, simply put, didn't get to play much for the varsity last year. There was just no minutes for him.
It is a great line. They seem to be reading each other well, playing off of each other. Looks like there's some communication going on. All three of them have good size to them, so they can puck protect, kind of use their body to create space and time to make plays.
Kittleson's in the face-off circle, tries to take it through the wickets, got around the defender, tried to come out on the other side and steered aside by Johnson. However, it takes a while before they're able to break it out. And a little bit of a rushed play there to loft it out to neutral zone. When you give away possession, it hits the linesman, and that thwarts the momentum of Schandorf. Schandorf tries a centering pass. He's looking in the direction of Walenta. Schandorf fights the battle down low. He's battling against Kiffin. Kiffin gets this one over in the direction of Kittleson, and now it's played back over to Kiffin. Kiffin, all the time in the world, snaps a pass out to neutral zone, gathered up by Lacombe. Lacombe chips this one ahead to Kittleson. Kittleson takes this one in wide, down in the corner, tries a counter move and pops it out over to Worms. Worms bodied off the puck there, but bounces right back to him. Now he's fighting a battle down along the end wall. It's a little physical down in the corner. So, Tim, we see Walenta out there. Remember earlier in the game, first period, he was really showing that, he can bring a physical presence. You almost wonder if maybe a big body check from him might force a turnover and generate an odd man rush.
Well, I think he wants to show what he can do here when he gets an opportunity, because there's some guys out right now, and he can kind of make a mark for a position, kind of maybe find himself a role on this team. So when he gets an opportunity, he is excited and wants to take an opportunity to do well.
That's a goal off the stick of Kittleson from Doctor. Kittleson from Doctor. Or is it Lagerbach? Lagerbach from Doctor, 34, not 24. Lagerbach from Doctor. Great play by Grant Doctor. Just kept the puck on his stick long enough to find the open man, bearing it into a wide open goal mouth. Teddy Lagerbach from Grant Doctor.
That was great patience by Grant. Carry that puck in and use his backhand to slide it over to the back door. Teddy Lagerbach, who banged home that shot, one-timed it in.
Nice goal for Minnetonka. They now lead 3-0. We'll listen to public address announcer Robin Cook, see if there's a second assist.
Assisted by number 11, Brayden McCollum. Time of the goal, 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Tim, I'm speechless. I mean, I couldn't tell if it was 24 or 34 that knocked it in from our angle, so maybe it was a Kittleson goal, but 11 might have been in on the play. Lacombe but certainly Doctor made the pass over, right?
That's what it looked like to me.
The game sheet's gonna miss that unless it gets corrected, but nonetheless, Minnetonka now leads 3-0. We don't know who got it. I think it was the way they went through the line. I think it was Lagerbach.
Well, this we do know. It was a right-hander that put it in. Kittleson and Lagerbach are both right-handed.
All right. So, you know, when I'm announcing, sometimes you're trying to keep up with different things, checking notes and whatnot, and don't always see the goal. But the safety net is usually the kid that skates through first is the guy that scored the goal. Although it defied me yesterday. I can't remember which goal it was,
Hendrickson.
but a kid skated through second, and I'm like, gosh, you know, we could use all the help we can get up here in the booth. I don't always have the best angle. Streaking up is Swift. Swift, he's been unable to get a lot of minutes, but looked very good yesterday in limited duty, and now he actually, the moniker sticks. Swift, he's a very fast skater.
Well, and they had a great shift in the first period. And then here they are back in the third period trying to keep the momentum going.
Swift is out with Wires and Simpson. They looked good yesterday. Again, limited action as this team is quite deep, but they're now on the forecheck, and getting there first is the defender Gasparini. Tries a stretch pass out to Gale, and they manage to break it out to the neutral zone but lose the puck. This is Kiffin. Kiffin plays this one over to Zitzloff, and now that they have a 3-goal margin, I think you see Coach Goldsworthy using a lot of these players a little bit more maybe than he was earlier in the game. I'm calling Zitzloff and Kiffin's names a lot more in the third period on defense.
It's good for them to get an opportunity to get their feet wet in varsity games. And they'll progress through the year and get more confident, but it's nice to see them out there, Zitzloff and Kiffin playing on that third set of defensemen.
Zitzloff tries to dump this one in, but it hits the referee right in the legs, and they never really get the puck in deep enough. It's brought out to neutral zone by Lakeville North, and a little bit back and forth here at neutral. It winds up onto the stick of Schandorf, who throws this one down, and Lakeville North tries to establish their forecheck. Popping it out to neutral. It's a foot race. Henriksen, he's cut off at the pass by Pearson. Pearson throws the puck around the board. Schandorf tips a pass into the center. This one doesn't quite connect, and Henriksen plays it back to the point. Big shot here from Josh Litke, and a cover here from Johnson. So, Tim, something was on my mind about a sequence we saw earlier. I'm trying to remember exactly what that was. Oh, you mentioned, you know, playing these players. Every year, I really like college basketball, and every year I always would watch a lot of college basketball, and you hear about Duke has no depth, Duke has no depth, Duke has no depth. 4-0.
There was Kittleson right there, kind of on the face-off, went forward to his forehand, tipped it between the legs of the center, and then slid it back door to Lacombe. It might even actually been on net, and then Kittleson then slid it over back door. But Kittleson did that earlier on a face-off where his forehand is facing towards the net, and he kind of walks the center of the defensive center right there. And as a center there taking that draw, you got to stay in with the body.
You
and
got to
stay
get the
with
body.
Your man.
Yeah,
Yep.
got to get a piece of him. I remember Cole Kodzy's now a commit to Michigan State. And as a Mite player down in Florida, I used to see him chip all the time. And I explained to my son, you just got to. Oh, this one's up in the throat of Doctor. Doctor goes down like a shot off the post. Nice shot here from Spencer Schneider. But yeah, Cole Kodzy, he's a great player, 2000 born out of Florida that's committed to Michigan State. And I told my son, you got to get your body in front of him because then he can't do that. Like, you know. So you should teach a kid that at Mites. Here we have a high school game, and Kittleson's getting away with it against Lakeville. So something they'll want to tighten up.
And as you going in to take that draw, there's reads that you're looking at. Sometimes they're always like pointing like they're going to go back, and they're telling their wingers, hey, I'm coming back with it. And really they're setting you up that they're really going forward. Another thing is you can just read their body language because they're kind of leaning to the middle versus low, kind of spread out with their feet. They're kind of more straight up, kind of looking to tap it through, so to speak, but they're leaning towards the net.
Santiago does it the other way, and he gets a good shot on goal, and turnabout's fair play. What a great play there by Santiago, and guess what? The Minnetonka Center didn't lock up the body there either.
It was a nice play by 19 there, Santiago. That was a good headsy play, trying to return the favor there.
Oh, you never know what you're going to see at high school sports. I absolutely love it. Nice play here for Kroll to show us what he can do on the breakout. Bobbles up over the winger stick. It gets to the blue line. Second time's a charm, however, as we're bringing it out to the neutral zone. This is Patrick Wires. Wires is out with Swift and Simpson. This one gets tipped up into the bench. We get a stoppage of play.
It's nice to see It's nice to see players thinking kind of one step ahead, in a sense, on those face-offs. Instead of just being basic and getting the puck back, here you're kind of changing it up, kind of getting the other team on their toes or catching them off guard. So it's great to see smart hockey players thinking the game in the way Santiago and Kittleson are.
This one hits a skate boot and deflects down to the end line, and Minnetonka's got to find a breakout path. They chip it over to Simpson. Simpson's got a streaking Wires up ahead. This one bounces over a stick. It's waved off for icing, and Lakeville North has to retreat down into their own end to try to work a breakout. We hit the mid-mark of the final period. The outcome's probably not in doubt here. Minnetonka leads 4-0. Lakeville North is trying to break that shutout and see if they can make this one a little bit more interesting, but pinned back into their own end. It takes a nice play there from Gasparini to trigger the breakout. Doesn't get too far. It takes a bad bounce off of back of somebody's leg, and they're putting back down to their own blue line, trying to work through the neutral zone. Gaining the zone now is Lee, but he loses the puck in the process. Minnetonka's going the other way, and Lee's very active out there, Tim. He brings a high energy rate as well. Maybe not the physicality of a Walenta, but you can see as this team settles in, I think Lakeville North is going to have a real good, grinding line that's very tough to score against. Back down, played by Johnson. He leaves this one for Pearson. Pearson tries to find a path, and he has an uninterrupted breakout pass all the way up ahead to Walenta. Walenta gets to the blue line but loses the puck. It's dumped in. Kranz fires it in, and on the forecheck we see number
5.
We said 5. The jersey tuck is killing me here. My son read a biography of Wayne Gretzky when he was very, very young, and he read about the jersey tuck. And I can usually find him on the ice because he's the one with the tuck jersey. But when you get kids in a game like this and you're trying to announce, a 5 can look like an 8, and it's very hard always to pick out the right numbers. 5. Who's 5? Did they call somebody up from JV? They must have. With the injuries, it looks like we've got a replacement that wasn't on our line chart yesterday.
Hi, this is Dan Germanson from Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer and would love to have you be a part of 2019. Check out minnesotahockeycamps.com for more information.
So, Tim, one of the thoughts I was going to bring up earlier that I'll finish right now, year after year after year, Duke has no depth. I always hear that watching college basketball. And year after year after year, they have one of the top, if not the top recruiting class. And I keep thinking, well, what happened to the guys? Like, they got there and they weren't any good? You play your depth. And Clem Haskins, when he was coaching the Gophers always had a deep team because game in, game out, he played, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 11 or 12 guys. And I think we're seeing that with Sean Goldsworthy right now. They have a lead, but he wants to make sure, over the course of a season, you don't know what's going to happen. There could be some injuries. There could be some other things that affect the rotation. And he's playing Simpson, Swift, Wires, Zitzloff, and Kiffin a lot more right now, and really playing, setting the team up really for success in the long run.
I think that is true. I think you have to do that here, especially early in the season, and see where players are at, because you never know. You've had 1 week of tryouts, and that's it. So you're kind of get them in some games to see where they're at, and maybe, heck, they might be better than some of the players that were on the third line or the second line. So you're just trying to figure that out right now, especially early in the season. And I like your point about, if someone got hurt, then they are more prepared to take that spot.
Here's something I know you can relate to as a past high school coach. There was Coach Shea Walters from Cloquet. He had his first game yesterday as a head coach. He's been an assistant coach, but the new coach for Cloquet's varsity, and turnover at the wrong moment, and it's a nice play here. Hendrickson doesn't quite connect on that next pass, and we're going the other direction. Chipped all the way down by DuPont. But Tim, I asked him, I said, how are you feeling, entering the season? You had a couple injuries on defense, and that's affected things. He said, we had a scrimmage on Tuesday, and I had everything set, and then we scrimmaged, and I had to move everything around. So even when you think you know what you have, and Sean Goldsworthy coached a lot of these kids last year, but you know, you see once the games begin, hey, you know what? Maybe we can make some adjustments here or there.
Well, I think you're always asking yourself, is there any tweaks we can make to our lines or our pairing or, you know, even special teams that can make a difference and make us better. So I think that's what you're trying to do early on, and then you find a point where you get solid and confident with your lineup, and then you kind of roll with that towards the end of the year.
You know, I always think of maybe the definition of a riddle is a question that doesn't have a certain answer. And, you know, not that Minnetonka is this team, but we're starting the high school season. And I always wonder, the riddle is, what do you do when you have one-line scoring? Because a lot of times people look at it and think, well, if I break these guys up, maybe I can get two-line scoring. But what if you break them up and you've got no line scoring? Like, that's really not really a spot you want to find yourself. So it's early in the season. Things are settling in. But Minnetonka looks very, very good in the early going and deep, which was probably the only question is, do they have enough players to replace losing players like Lowhite, like Bobby Brink, like their entire third line of forwards, Andes, and, you know, it's just evident to me they're not going to have any problems this year with team depth.
Yeah, they have that depth, and it's nice for Coach Goldsworthy to have, and I think they just, you know, keep playing as a team, keep working hard, compete, battle. I think those are some things that Minnetonka has to continue to do, because I think they're going to win games a little different than they did last year. Last year, they would kind of run away with it a little bit more and have easier games throughout, or maybe early on. But here they might have to battle through and have a little bit closer games and maybe squeak one out here and there as the season goes on.
Penalty called on Braden Lacombe. This gives Lakeville North a power play. 1 minute and 40 seconds remains in that. We'll see if they're able to crack the code, take away that shutout for Glockner. It would be, you know, very nice for Lakeville to walk out of here and say that they had a few good things happen in the game against Minnetonka. I think, you know, certainly we saw that yesterday with St. Thomas. You know what? They had a good second period. I think, you know, they can always hang their hat on that. They had a good second period, and I know Lakeville would like to get on the board.
Well, and I think St. Thomas, you know, had a good second period, like you were saying, but then they also came out and had a good game today. So it kind of set the tone for today's game. And they probably wanted that same energy they got in the second period today, which it seems like they must have gotten.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got about 4.5 minutes to go. You'll want to stick around for today's post-game show. Tim Hannes and I will be naming the Watching Puck All-Tournament team and also the Bright Futures, which are some of the underclassmen, mostly sophomores, even maybe a freshman that might sneak in there as players that we were impressed with in the 4 games of the opener. So a lot of players to choose from, and we'll take about a 2-minute break when this one ends, talk about that for a little bit, run an ad, and we'll come right back with the all-tournament team named by Tim and I. Down behind the goal, a chance for Munson. He gets pasted against the boards, almost like a nail gun there. Hendrickson just rolled him right into the boards.
Good physical play by Mason Hendrickson. Again, this line is in the Panthers zone again, making plays, creating offense.
Yeah, big hit there from Mason Hendrickson. And Hendrickson's the type of player that we talked a little bit about yesterday, you know, going back to our era, throwing out names like Jim Carroll or Dave Jecka. You know, you have a player that was kind of lost in a depth chart last year. He's a good hockey player, but Minnetonka didn't need him to play a big role, and now he's going to be expected to play a big role. And I think Mason Hendrickson's had a very good weekend. He looks good so far. He entered the season with just 3 career points, and that's a number that's going to change a lot because he's had a very, very good weekend. And he's a big part of the plans for this Minnetonka team.
And the thing is, he can do it. He's done it in his youth years at Minnetonka. When he was a second-year Pee Wee, he was an impact player. When he was a second-year Bantam, he was an impact player there too, and helped lead the team, kind of the same role he is in now, all the way to a state championship.
So 18's got a father who's at work right now, and things aren't going well. Michigan State is a 4-2 over Minnesota, so we'll look to see what happens in the last half of the third period over there and try to get an update for anybody interested from Plymouth Ice Center, where it is Edina playing Maple Grove. That's another big high school game to start the season. Here comes Lacombe, enters the zone, tries to get the pass over to Lagerbach, but he kind of fanned out of the puck bounce right back to him. That little delay was enough to trigger an offside call.
I'd have to say, John, I don't have any tears over that 4-2 score, Michigan State over Minnesota.
Yeah, how's St. Cloud doing?
They're doing pretty good. I think they're top 2 teams in the state or in the nation.
Top 3 were Minnesota for like 1, 2, and 3 at one point. And I don't know which week was Duluth, Mankato, and St. Cloud.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm pulling for the Huskies to have a great finish this year.
Yeah. So I mentioned you were just on your way back up here. When you went up to play your college hockey at St. Cloud, were you there for the first year of Division I or second year? I know it was right as the program was coming into Division I.
Yeah, I believe it was the second year of Division I.
So Brooks was your coach?
Brooks was not. Brooks was there when they were Division III, and then he left. Craig Dahl took over the first year of Division I, and then I came in the second year of Division I.
So Brooks was part of elevating the status of the program. I think, his visibility maybe got the rink built, but he was not on board for the first Division I season.
He was not.
Did he get an NHL job, or what did he go do?
So, yeah, that's a good question. I can't remember what he did. I think a lot of the recruits that he had coming in were disappointed.
Okay.
But they had one of the assistant coaches that they had was Mike Eves, who did an excellent job. So I think the recruits were, disappointed that he was leaving, but Herb Brooks, that is. But they also knew Mike Eves was a really good coach, so he was coming in to help with Craig Dahl.
And then you were up there probably same time we're standing in the building here in Bloomington. Jeff Soderdahl, a teammate?
Yes.
Yep, so Jeff was a great high school player and youth player for Bloomington Jefferson, and his father coached here for a long, long time, won several state championships in the early 90s based right out of this building at Bloomington Ice Garden. So we've got 97 seconds left. So Tim, start thinking about some of these players from this game, and then start thinking about maybe whittling this list down. We had a lot of players that we need to talk about as we'll get ready for the post-game show. Minnetonka's coasting to a victory here. It wasn't an easy one. I think, there were a lot of times when Lakeville North was able to do a real good job of keeping the score in check. Spin move, just why? This is Schandorf. But really a turning point in the game was when the second goal went in off the stick of Newhouse. You and others thought that maybe there should have been a penalty called on Minnetonka just before that, and things might have looked a little bit different had they not popped open a 2-0 lead at that point.
Yeah, I think Lakeville was sitting pretty comfortably. Not that they were in control of the game, because I think Minnetonka had more possession, but they were starting to believe that they could win, and they were playing harder, and then all of a sudden there was a little hook and turned into an offensive opportunity for Newhouse, who buried that second goal for Minnetonka.
So Newhouse, one of the names you might hear in the post-game show, which we'll get to in just a moment. And I never got an update on the football game. We had St. Thomas in the state championship, and never really got an update on that Edina hockey game. I'll see if I can find the Edina Maple Grove score. Some of the things that we could talk about maybe. Well, Maple Grove 2 last update that I got here. So Edina might get upset to start the season. That would certainly. Who are the favorites to win the state title? A little bit more interesting. Minnetonka is certainly in that discussion. That's going to do it for regulation time. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with the post-game show. Tim Hannes and I will talk about the all-tournament team and also some bright future that were underclassmen that impressed this weekend.
I know. You've thought about it. You've talked to some friends. You've even seen golf books like this, and you've said, I'd love to go take an Irish golf trip, but you've never gotten around to it. Or maybe you've been once and you'd like to go back. This is your opportunity. Just let me take care of the details. We'll go over summer 2019 and have a great time. Ireland is just a great place to visit. I've been there 5 times. I call it the first state. It's got a lot of affordable 1-week trip, play some great golf, and really experience all that the Emerald Isle has to offer. Just get in touch with me. We'll go through the planning stages together as the final details get nailed down in summer of 2019. It's your opportunity to take advantage of this very affordable, reasonable golf trip. EdenHallCo.com. Click on tours, and to be included in upcoming communication as the final details are nailed down, just send me an email, john@edenhallco.com.
Talk about Atlantis, how it's lost beneath the sea, and the grave of the...
Hockey fans, I hope you've enjoyed today's game and you've enjoyed Eden Hall Productions' presentation. We're not done yet. 12 games coming up at Hockey for Life between Christmas and New Year's, the top high school Christmas event in the state of hockey this winter. It's a wonderful opportunity for advertisers to reach a hockey passionate and community focused demographic. For more information, just check out my website. You can email me at john@edenhallco.com. Plenty of different packages available at all different price levels. Very, very affordable way to reach thousands of people. The 16 Eden Hall Productions games in conjunction with Youth Hockey Hub will reach an audience of about 30,000 people.
All right, I'm John Connolly here with Justin, our producer. He's been outstanding all 4 games. Thanks for your efforts. And color commentator worked 2 of the 4 games with me. I appreciate every minute of it, Tim Hannes. So, Tim, we had a chance to talk. Why don't you walk through some of the names that we would have as the all-tournament team? We wound up with 8. We wound up with 8 upperclassmen on the all-tournament team. So I'll let you start. Maybe why don't we work from the...
Tonight, and I thought he had a good game last night. Was impactful in both games. It was good to see that. Also, you had Schneider here tonight, game winner last night. And then tonight, probably just a little bit undermanned as a team, but you could see that he's a really nice skater, understands the game, and did a really nice job here.
His wow game was yesterday, entering the zone, firing that big wrister into the top corner right away. Everybody was like, wow, did you see that shot? You know, maybe I didn't because I blinked. You know, the release was so quick. You don't see a lot of wrist shots anymore, but it was a true wrist shot. Then he had the game winner in overtime, put them into this championship game. And today, you mentioned, you know, his lineys both got hurt. So he comes in and having to play with some different guys. And as a wing, not as much of a presence maybe as a center, but Hendrickson, Schneider. So we've got from the Cloquet game earlier, I had a comment. Somebody told me, hey, you know what? I didn't notice him do anything for a game and a half, and then boom, 3 points on the board, 2 goals in 1 shift. Who was that?
That is the older Langenbrenner, the big guy.
Landon Langenbrenner.
From Cloquet.
He had a great game, and his dad Jamie was up here in the booth with me announcing that game. Dayak, outstanding. He had goal and assist on 1 shift. That was the difference when St. Thomas beat Cloquet earlier. In late second period, he had a goal and an assist all in 1 shift. The goals came in bunches there. So we've got 4 forwards, Hendrickson, Schneider, Langenbrunner, Dayak. We did add a 5th one, was in this game. He looked real good yesterday. I think someone else called him the player of the game. Had another good game today.
And that is Griffin Streeter. He really looked comfortable this weekend and did a really nice job in his first 2 games back at Minnetonka.
And it's kind of tough to crack the lineup as a defenseman here because there's 2 kids in the state that are just so good, and our 2 defensemen making the all-tournament team for the upperclassmen, both Minnetonka players.
Yeah, these 2 are really good hockey players. They play well together, and I think even if they didn't play together, they would be very impactful and very noticeable players, and that is Josh Litke and Grant Doctor.
Yeah, Doc and Litke looked very, very good. And what do you know? It's an accolade for a St. Thomas goaltender. A little bit different this year. Atticus Kelly has moved on, and I thought in both games, our goalie that I'll pick here is Muzzy Donahue. Donahue was outstanding yesterday. Faced 44 shots, only let in 4. It was a big part of today's win. So St. Thomas maybe enters the season. They knew they had a good goalie, but I think you'd say maybe everybody else thinks a question mark. This kid didn't get to play. Atticus Kelly, he didn't get to play much last year with the number 1 going to state. He steps in, and Donahue was outstanding. Now let's look at some of the underclassmen. We had a couple in this game that were on the blue line for Lakeville. I floored at how good some of the sophomore defensemen were this weekend. 2 of them in this game.
Yeah, Munson played really well. We didn't know how it didn't go in. And then Gasparini was just a really nice skater. Does a really good job with his head up and makes really nice plays throughout the ice in terms of offensive zone, defensive zone, neutral zone. He's always making nice passes.
So it's interesting. There are 2 sophomores for Lakeville North. One of them came off the Bantam team, and Munson played varsity last year as a freshman. They were impressive. I thought, and if I had to pick, I don't know that I could choose. I thought there was another outstanding defenseman in this tournament. He plays for Cloquet, the younger brother of Landon Langenbrunner. Mason Langenbrunner was just phenomenal both games. He's a player to watch that has a very high ceiling. I mean, we're talking, not just, all county kid. I mean, this kid looks like a Division I star and possibly even maybe an NHL prospect.
Well, when you see him play, I saw him play last year at Bantams for Cloquet, and he was really good. He controlled the game, had his head up, made good decisions with the puck, and had a little physicality to him, a little grit to him. And sometimes those northern boys bring that to the Twin Cities, and it's great for our Twin City boys to kind of get pressed upon by that grit. And
so we named 3 defenders for the Bright Futures team, all sunglasses, if you will. These guys have a bright future. Let's pick 3 forwards here. So Galatz from Cloquet had a good tournament, and I thought it was interesting. Jamie Langenbrunner's not in the game with me, and when I was telling him about some of the St. Thomas personnel, he was familiar with Hallam, and I wondered, is he tracking him already like he's an NHL prospect? Hallam was outstanding, and then we had one in this game. What can you say? 2 goals, 2 big goals, has the game winner, and then tacks another one on.
It's great to see Hunter Newhouse get 2 goals tonight. He's worked hard for it. Opportunistic on the second one. We'll give him that with that penalty. But, getting that first one, too, he kind of carried it from end to end and drove wide, tried to make a play. The puck kind of settled in front, and he came in and kind of just bounced on a rebound there and scored his first high school goal. So it was good to see. But he was good last night, too. The Hallam kid, I liked him last night. I thought he skated really, really well for St. Thomas, and I think he's got a bright future, too.
Hallam looked great. He was a sophomore, in these games, but a year ago played varsity as a freshman, and certainly one to watch. So we just named 8 players off of the upperclassmen for like an all-tournament team. We named 6 for the Bright Futures, but we don't have a goalie on that younger team. So I'm going to dip down in the junior varsity, and I'm going to go on a limb here. You watch a lot of hockey, and you're like, oh, this guy's a can't miss. A lot of times doesn't work. As Olympian that was here, and that's she's outstanding. Keith Jungles, and we were talking about goaltenders. He's like, she is legit. She's the real deal. So here she is. She's a 9th grader. She's playing junior varsity for the Lakeville boys. I don't know what the future holds. The next few years, do you play high school boys varsity in Minnesota? Do you go play at some type of boarding school and in the higher level women's hockey? Do you accelerate your schooling to start college early? I don't know exactly what the next few years hold, but mark my words, she's going to be a name that comes up in the mix with discussions for that Olympic pool, maybe 4, maybe 8 years from now. She's got that type of future. So she wasn't a varsity player this weekend, but we'll put veteran goal because the players that played the varsity games and logged all the minutes were for the most part seniors, and I think 1 junior. So anything you want to add? Final thoughts before we wrap up?
I thought it was a good weekend of hockey here. A good way to start off the season for all the teams involved. I think Minnetonka definitely has the upper hand of the teams that we saw this weekend, but it's early in the season, and they got to keep plugging away just like everybody else.
Well, we had a lot of fun doing these games. Tim Hannes, can't thank you enough for coming in. It's a little different watching as third party. You got a son on the JV, and you used to coach this team, used to play for this team. A little bit different just watching as an outsider, maybe not having a stake in the game like you used to when you were on the bench. Very impressed. I think all 4 teams walk away from the opener with some things, positives to build on. And you know what? Cloquet, they're going to face the group of death to get to the state tournament. This was good preparation for it. The other 3 entered the season as section favorites for their respective sections. And St. Thomas is, just hoping to get those guys back from the football game and, get on with the season. And these other 2 teams, Minnetonka's locked and loaded, ready to go. And Lakeville North says, you know what? We're never going to face more adversity than we faced during the season, losing 2 of our top-line guys. We've got a defenseman that's out. We've got guys from the football team that might come and help. And, this was a crucible. It tested them at the extremes, and anything they face, they've certainly been prepared for by the opener.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good competition for all the teams involved, and I think it's only going to make them better and stronger as they move forward and then into the middle of the season and then into the end of the year. And I think they're going to grow from this tournament.
For our producer, Justin, and color analyst, Tim Hannes, John Connolly signing off from Bloomington. Thanks for watching.